fact is what you want to present. Storytelling is how you present facts. Because if you don't use storytelling to present the facts, you're writing a physics textbook for me and I will not read it. The best thing at when you want to write so as to be conscious and not get lost in storytelling is to have a proper outline. Creative writers do not really get bothered about just throwing in facts because it's storytelling. Now, I know that they are presenting facts and it might, whether you like it or not, reading facts sometimes gets boring. Exactly. You'd agree with me. It is the writer's problem to be able to present facts in such a way that the reader's interest is sustained. So I don't care how you do it. You can use language, you can use illustrations, storytelling. But either anyhow you want to do it, just make sure that the reader's attention is sustained.
Welcome to another episode of Page to Shelf podcast, where we dive into the world of creativity and explore the stories behind the stories. My name is Aiza Goodness and I'll be your host for today. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Like, oh god, I can't explain how happy I am. And today promises to be very interesting, very insightful. You're gonna learn a lot. And our guest, she's the full package. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, I'll be introducing our topic for today and our guest. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's still your podcast, Page to Shelf. And like I said, today's topic is going to be very interesting, very insightful. You're going to learn a lot. And our topic for today, balancing facts with storytelling in nonfiction. Balancing facts with storytelling in nonfiction. I'm sure you're wondering, you're probably confused. Like, why are they saying facts? Storytelling, nonfiction, don't worry. We'll get into it shortly. And our guest for today is the full package. Like, she is small but mighty. She's a woman with doings. 100% still. In fact, I'm talking too much. Let me just read her profile and then you will agree with me. So, Evidence Ogwono Ajaro is a literary critic, writer, and media enthusiast. She's known for insightful analysis and contribution to African literature. She is currently an undergraduate student and serves as a student librarian in the Department of English at the University of Lagos. She also doubles as the founder of Litera, a literary community in Unilag, and she is the lead of the Faculty of Arts Book Club. In 2024, Ajaro won the Afro Critic Prize for Criticism. Are you guys listening? Beyond this accolade, she has also won the Atipo Prize for Book Review in 2023 and the Ken Sarowiwa Prize for Book Review. Her writings have been featured in publications such as Afrocritic, J-Lead, the Kalahari Review, WSA Nigerian, Reader's Boon, and elsewhere. Oh my gosh, she has been busy. Like, she's not playing. So away from literature, she is a team member of Nigerian Youth Researcher, working with the International Center for Research on Women on a project centered around female inequities. She is also passionate about documenting and has begun classes on photography. Only one person. Her aspiration is to tell the stories of women. Please, I know you guys are clapping wherever you are because this is a lot. Evidence, please welcome to the show. Let's welcome Evidence, please. Welcome, Evidence.
Thank you so much.
We're so happy to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
And like I said, you have been busy. Hey, one person with all these doings and awards, it's not easy. And you're still young. You know what? I feel like there's a lot to learn from you. Like our youth out there, you can do everything. She's an undergraduate and she's doing all of this. It's not easy.
Thank you so much.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. Okay, so we're going to be talking about balancing facts with storytelling in nonfiction. What do you have to say? Just give us a brief intro. Like when you hear the topic, what comes to your mind?
First off, I think that's a very interesting and deliberate topic because facts and storytelling. It's I would say that fact and storytelling, they are kind of two different sides of the pole. When we talk about storytelling, people think fiction, and then you include fact. So that's like saying two opposite things. So I think that trying to show a convergence, a meeting point is very interesting. That's why I said the topic is deliberate and interesting.
Yeah, it is. Thank you very much. Okay, so I want to ask you a question now. You're talking about facts. We're talking about facts, and we're talking about storytelling. Do you think there's a point where you're trying to tell a story and then you're deviating from the fact? So how do you keep yourself in check? I know you're a book critic. I don't know if you've read books that has to do with facts and then they're saying it in the form of a story. So how do writers out there stay in line? You're trying to tell a story, you're also trying to put in the facts, but you do not want to deviate totally from the fact you're trying to portray in your book. I mean, non-fictions are supposed to educate, they're supposed to inform us. So how do you put yourself in check?
Okay. If you read, I want to make reference to Chinua Achebe's memoir. It's also non-fiction. There Was a Country. The book talks about Chinua Achebe's perspective on the Biafran War.
Okay.
So I think that to be able to balance fact and storytelling, because when you are writing a story, the story leads you. It's like you are just an instrument.
Exactly.
The story takes you. You do not have control of what is going on. So it's important to now be able to balance to know that, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I think that the best thing when you want to write so as to be conscious and not get lost in storytelling is to have a proper outline. Okay. It helps you. So you know that, okay, at this point, I'm going to deviate a bit. I'm going to digress. I'm going to expand. But at this point, I'm coming back to my illustration or to the fact. Then I'll use storytelling to back it up. So I think it's important to have an outline. Yes.
Okay. I hope you're writing. Point number 1, have an outline. Thank you very much, Evidence. Okay, now, there are two sides of this thing. When you're deviating, you're already telling your story, you're going on your own, and then there's another part of it that you are just throwing facts on our face. Like, you're just telling us, this is what happened. You're throwing facts. We are not even entertained. Even if you're trying to inform us, at least let's get entertained with the book to give us a bit of story that makes the flow easy. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, so don't just throw facts on it. So how do we also balance that as writers? How do you balance throwing facts, then mixing it with story? So it doesn't be like we are reading a documentary or we're just reading something that has to do with history. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get. If you want to just throw facts in our faces, you might as well write a textbook.
Right?
I don't think for any creative writer, I don't think that would be a problem. Because I even think the major problem would be not throwing in facts as opposed to throwing in facts. Because throwing in facts would make it look mechanic, like robotic.
Exactly.
So for me, I'm speaking from my own perspective and from other perspective of other creatives. I don't think just throwing in fact is going to be an issue. For instance, I'm referencing Chinua Achebe again because I'm a big soccer fan. Yes. So in Chinua Achebe's memoir, it begins by saying a proverb. Think something about you would not know how your clothes gets wet, something about rainfall, and I don't know. It has just stuck. So I reiterate by saying that creative writers do not really get bothered about just throwing in facts, because it's storytelling. Story takes you, it leads you. So thank you.
You just go into the world of storytelling, like let it carry you, carry you going. All right. And so, what do you think makes for a great non-fiction story? What are the pointers, like some things you will see in a non-fiction story and you're like, this is a great one, like this will enter. So what are the pointers to give us, like, to look out for a great non-fiction story?
Tough question. But I'll start by saying that it's tough because literature does not have a one literature does not have one answer to everything.
Yeah.
So literature is very subjective. I might say that these are points that make non-fiction stand out for me, someone else might not agree.
Okay, true.
But let's be subjective. What stands out, what makes non-fiction stand out to me is, one, the writing style.
Okay.
There are writings that use very vivid and evocative language. You read it and you are immersed in that writing. You read there was a country, you are immersed. Although it's non-fiction, you are immersed in that writing because the writing draws you in. The writing evokes powerful feelings. William Wordsworth says something that, although it's poetry, but he said poetry is recollection of feelings, So that is one thing that I think stands out for me, the language used. That's the writing style, but in terms of language. I also think it's the ability of the writer to sustain readers' interest. Now, non-fiction is not like fiction where you can throw in any lie and everybody is happy. And non-fiction, yes, non-fiction, the verisimilitude of non-fiction cannot be compared to fiction. Although I can't argue that non-fiction still has elements of fiction, but that one is story for another day. So sorry for another day. I was saying that the other thing I look out for is I forgot. Please give me a moment to remember.
No problem.
See, the problem of storytelling, you get to expatiate that you just forget where you started from. Anyway, another thing I look out for when reading non-fiction, or what makes good non-fiction, is how I was saying that how the writer is able to sustain the reader's interest. They can do it. Now, I know that they are presenting fact, and it might, whether you like it or not, reading fact sometimes gets boring. Exactly. You'd agree with me. So it is now the reader's problem, the writer's rather. It is the writer's problem to be able to present facts in such a way that the reader's interest is sustained. So I don't care how you do it. You can use language, you can use illustrations, storytelling. But anyhow you want to do it, just make sure that the reader's attention is sustained. So that's another thing that I think makes for good non-fiction. Once again, I'll reference There Was a Country by Chinua Achebe.
Okay, no problem. Just keep referencing as you like. I'm sure we have fans out there of Chinua Achebe that will agree with you that, okay, just go on. And like she said, get the attention, just retain the attention of your reader. I'm also someone that I must be immersed into that world of the book. Like, take me into your world. If not, I will just stop and say, I can't do this. Sorry. All right. So we are going to go on a very short break, and when we come back, we are going to dive into deeper. We're going to get you into our world. All right. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Get ready for intellectually stimulating conversations, a podcast like no other. It's the Page to Shelf podcast. Join us as we navigate the world of creativity, from book ideation and publication to bookshelves and everything after that. Coming your way soon. Page to Shelf podcast, powered by Book Spider.
Welcome back. It's still your podcast, Page to Shelf, and we're talking about balancing facts with storytelling in non-fiction. It has been an interesting episode. Like, I'm having a great time here with you every day. Like, she's dropping knowledge. Pick it up. Are you people with your broom? Are you with your bucket?
We're picking it up.
We're picking knowledge, yeah. Okay, so still on the topic. Now, when you're trying to write a story, a non-fiction story, now you're putting in facts. Where do you decide to add this and not add this? Like, where do you decide to omit some things? You can also use your reference to Chinua Achebe's book that talks about the Nigeria Biafra. I'm sure it's not going to be all the details of the Biafran war that will be included. So how do you think writers out there can know when to put this and when not to put that? Like, how to pick out the important parts of history to include in your book, the important parts of the facts to include, and then the ones to remove. So how do you think you can navigate that?
So writing goes through different stages when you're writing. there's the first draft. Before that, there's the pre-writing stage. Pre-writing stage where you sit down and think, okay, this is what I want to do. So at that stage, you have a canvas. It's empty and you have to fill it in. But you're filling it in with thoughts. You're saying, okay, this is what I want to write about. But you've not necessarily delimited it. So the first draft, you want to pour in everything you've thought about. Like, oh, I've thought about this, and this, and then you write it. But you take time off that writing. You come back. You see, I don't think this should be there. So I think it's more to answer your question, I think it's more of instinct. You just know that this should be here and this should not be here. That's why it's good. I would advise people to take time off their writings. After writing, just take time off. Look at nature, look at your environment, your surrounding. It gives you inspiration, trust me. And then when you come back to it, you're coming back to it with the eyes of a reader. So you are seeing, okay, this shouldn't be here. I need to take it out. And other than that, your work is usually edited. It goes through different editing stages. Your editor can come and tell you that things that you don't see, your editor can come and tell you that, okay, I don't think this should be here, or I think this can be adjusted, tweaked a little. So to answer your question, first, on the writer's part, I think it's instinctual, and also from a place of learning. For instance, you write something and then you go online to read and you are not comfortable with what you've written. You either adjust it or you scrap it, and then on the part of the editor, the editor can decide, okay, I don't think this fits.
Is necessary.
Yes.
Also.
So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And by the way, Page to Shelf podcast is powered by Book Spider. Yes, it's an editing company. So you can send your manuscript to us. We'll tell you what to put and what not to put in that your non-fiction story. Okay, so moving on. I know you are a book critic, more of fiction books, right?
Yes.
More fiction books. So generally, I would say you prefer fiction to non-fiction, right? If you have to choose, you say, "Oh, I'll go for fiction anytime, any day."
No, surprisingly.
Okay.
I do fiction reviews because fictional books are more affordable.
Oh, really?
Yes, they are what I can easily lay my hands on.
Oh.
And again, whether you like it or not, you still want your audience to... It's kind of like what my audience has associated with me, and it was what I started with.
Okay.
But I prefer non-fiction.
Mm.
Non-fiction that is written well, I prefer non-fiction. I'll go with non-fiction any day, every day.
Okay, so I was wrong. Non-fiction, anytime, any day. So, if we're to prioritize one, storytelling and facts in non-fiction, which do you think should be more prominent?
That is a difficult question, but I'm going to try my best to answer. Which should be more prominent? I can't say, but I'll just explain. I think it's left to the writer.
Okay.
You could make facts more prominent, but I would say, now that I think of it, fact is what you want to present. Storytelling is how you present facts.
What?
So I think it's just complementary. Okay. Fact is what you want to present. Storytelling is how you present the fact. Because if you don't use storytelling to present the facts, you're writing a physics textbook for me and I will not read it. You're writing a history textbook for me and I will not read it. Yeah. So you use storytelling to present the facts.
Okay. So I hope you wrote that down. Facts. We use storytelling to what? To present the fact. Fact is what you want to present, but then you use storytelling to present the fact. Okay, so can you give us a story where the impact of factual information in form of story, just like you've given reference to Chinua Achebe. I don't know, maybe just give us a brief summary, English students, right? So you give us a brief summary of how it represented facts with storytelling.
At times like this, I want to deny that I'm not a student of English, but it's too
But
late.
you are.
It's too late to deny. Synopsis of what's the title now? There Was a Country. Personal story of Biafra. There Was a Country is literally about the Biafran war rather. So but Chinua Achebe doesn't come as a historian. It doesn't come as one that is telling history. It comes as a storyteller who is telling history from his perspective. So usually when you present facts, you present them, especially in academic writing, you present them from a purely objective form. But Chinua Achebe doesn't do that. That's why people, there are criticisms that have been laid that There Was a Country is biased. And I totally agree. It's fine. It's his writing. He wasn't going to his issue wasn't with presenting history, with presenting a side of the story. For instance, there can be two people who witness an accident. Person A goes ahead to tell you, oh, this accident happens at 5 a.m. in the morning on the along Ojota Road, blah blah blah. Person 2 might not come from that angle. Person 2 might come from the angle of the emotional impact it had on the people that survived or on them. So person 2 can come from, I witnessed the motor accident. I was on my way to school. It was just describe the environment and then maybe leave the scene of the accident and come back to say, throughout that day my mood was ruined. They might not talk about the accident itself. Too, they might not even talk about all those facts. But they presented their own side of the story. Would you say that's wrong? No, it's not. So I've forgotten the question. Oh my god. Anyway, I just feel like
we're talking about how Chinua Achebe presented facts with his story.
Okay, and then and then you asked for a synopsis. So I was just using that as an analogy in buttressing my point that it's fine if your non-fiction is subjective. It's you writing it. It's your point of view. It's your perspective. It's not meant to be objective because it's not a textbook. Oh my god, you think textbooks are...
Do you have anything against textbooks?
You think I have beef with textbook? Absolutely not. I'm just saying that in textbook you find very rigid writing. So the story is about the Biafran war, but how it affects Chinua Achebe. So you see that he mentions his interactions with people. For instance, the poet Christopher Okigbo, how he used to work at a newspaper, whatever, and then he describes those period when he was there, when the war broke out, and then he had to leave. And you see how in almost every stage of that memoir, you see how he describes, he prioritizes his relationships with people. The same thing obtains in Wole Soyinka's memoir, You Must Set Forth at Dawn. Wole Soyinka's memoir is also a very good example of non-fiction. Although people say that Wole Soyinka's writing style is so hard, I cannot get what he's reading. I need to have a dictionary. And that's fine too. If you say Wole Soyinka writes for the elite, fine, don't read it. It's not begging you
at all.
It's not going to take his title of being the Nobel laureate. Anyway, I was saying that Wole Soyinka also, in his writing, he prioritizes personal experiences too, while also presenting fact, because he was explaining his life. He traced his life incidents from period of I think military rule until I can't remember where, but he traced a particular period in his life. So Wole Soyinka was presenting fact as well. You would see places where sometimes it got boring though, where you see places where it starts to explain or the Nigerian situation at a particular time. The same thing you find if you read newspapers. You see what Wole Soyinka has described. That's how you know that okay, this is a fact. It presents dates, it presents figures that are actual. So that's fact. But it comes from a subjective point of view. It is not just stating facts, and it tells a story. Do you get? So it tells okay, in that memo I said it traces it. So you see that in the beginning it talks about the loss of a particular friend, a close friend of his. Chino Achebe talks about the death of Christopher Okigbo, who was killed during the war. That was also a close friend. So they all come from personal experiences, but it doesn't mean they are not presenting facts. They are presenting but facts. They use storytelling to present their facts. So they strive to balance it. So all this I'm just saying is you asked me to give a synopsis, and I'm just kind of doing a comparative analysis between Wole Soyinka's book and Chinua Achebe. But in both, what obtains is they present fact, but they present it from a
personal
view, a subjective point of view. So yes.
Okay. That was a long one, but yeah, we understand you.
I hope you did.
Yeah, we did, definitely. You did justice to that. Okay, so where do you draw the line between presenting facts, trying to put in poetic license into it? You know, you can write a book, you're trying to put in your poetic license, you're still trying to put in facts, but then there's a thin line between trying to use poetic license and misrepresentation. You understand what I mean? You're trying to say, oh, I want to put this, like you said, my own personal view, but then there's a thin line. If you are not careful, you can misrepresent the fact that you're trying to actually tell your readers. So how do you make sure that you are staying in check?
This one a jam question.
If you answer this question, I'll personally meet your lecturer and pass all your courses. You finish exam here.
Okay. I agree with you when you spoke about poetic license and fact, because when I'm writing, I want to express myself, and poetic license, I can do whatever I want, right?
Exactly.
And there's now the burden of also presenting facts. So how do we draw that line? First, I think the problem of misrepresentation will forever be a thing. You would write and people would definitely look at your work and just give it another interpretation. But now we're coming from the point of view of misrepresentation of history. For instance, you want to talk about the Biafran War, but your poetic license and all of your storytelling has just moved away from the cause, such that what you are saying now doesn't look like our history or our knowledge about the Biafran War. So that's your question, right?
Yes.
I said earlier when I was speaking, I talked about how you need to draw an outline. Yes. I think that also comes to play here. You need to, while you are also exercising your writer's freedom, poetic license, what have you just need to be sure that, okay, I'm not going off course. And this is where maybe you've even gone off course in your writing, and then you feel like, oh, I've written it, I've put out a very good manuscript. You submit it to the editor. It's the editor's job to now tell you, hey sis,
come back.
This thing what you don't do, I don't know which person history they tell you, but you guys do them again. Or you have to correct some things. Maybe you have to be a little bit maybe subtler in your expressions, whatever. You just have to correct these things. So just in case you've not noticed, or maybe you're not able to draw the line between poetic license and actually presenting facts, it will take an external person to do that, and that's where your editor comes in. So I think that the role of the editor is actually very important, and very underrated.
Very underrated.
Yes, the role of the editor is very underrated. I'm not saying that of course it's the writer's idea, the writer conceives idea, but the editor also plays, and now I'm digressing anyway, but the editor also plays a very vital role in bringing that piece of writing to life. But they don't get the acknowledgements that they deserve sometimes. But it's fine,
So your story, your rape story, if you want to, like someone out there that has that same experience and wants to put it out to the world in form of a non-fiction, you understand, in form of a non-fiction. Now, instead of just saying it word for word, how it happened, you drag me, you do this, I'm so sorry. So just to make sure you are invoking emotion into your non-fiction story, how do you go about it?
Thank you. Sensitive question, but yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. So if it depends, if the victim is not a writer, they could get a confidant, speak to them about their experience and have them write for them.
Okay.
But if that person is a writer, so when I also wrote about my story, it's published on JLit. The title is Now That You're a Woman. When I submitted that piece to the editors, I was just writing. I just wanted to write and express myself. So during the stages of editing, there were things that the editor was like, okay, I think this should be removed, this should be tweaked, this can be elaborated, this can be it led me on what to do and what not to do. So I think that in that kind of case, if you want to share your story, an editor would working with an editor would be recommended, yes, because it will help you easier. Yes, and then it will help you because you are mostly blinded by that experience, so you cannot see beyond the experience. So it's the editor that is going to come out, is going to look at it, he or she rather is going to look at it from a different point of view and tell you that, okay, this is how best you can do write this, and this is how best you can do this should be removed, this should be elaborated, and all of those.
So the editor will help you drive your message clearer, and still evoke the emotion that you're trying to pass across.
You might have evoked the emotion, but it's just the editor's duty to make sure that it is well pronounced, and that unnecessary things are not included.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. Welcome. And please go ahead and read the book on JLit, right?
Yes. It's an essay.
It's an essay. All right. Please do well to read our book and share your
opinion.
Your opinion.
Not really opinion because it's non-fiction. Please don't share your opinion. But you can just say how it affects you or other things.
All right. So, like I said, there is something we do. You give us fun facts about you. Our viewers and our listeners knows that this is our tradition here. And we don't play with tradition. So you give us fun fact about you. If you're singing, if not to sing, you sing for us. If it's dancing, we don't mind. You stand, we'll clear space for you to dance and showcase your talent. So that fun fact about you that most people don't know.
If I dance and showcase my talent, people spray me money. If you don't spray me money, I will not do it too.
No, they whine. But yeah,
fun facts. Let me touch on different areas. First, food.
Wow.
I don't eat catfish.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I don't like swallow. I'm not a fan, but I eat it. Some people say that's why I'm slim. Good for you.
We're watching our weight.
No. What else? Okay, social life. I don't like to go out.
How?
Give me a room filled with books.
You don't like to go out, but you're going for a word up and down.
No, these ones are remote. Thankfully, I don't have to appear anywhere.
Yeah,
they're remote. Yes. So I just get email. Oh, congratulations. Thank you. But standing in front of, I don't like to go out, but I can. When I go out, I like to show myself.
Yes, so.
But I don't like to go out. If it's not necessary, I will not go out. I won't step out. So I don't think I'm not an extrovert. I used to be very shy. In fact, this I'm doing now. If you had met me 2 years ago, I'll literally be shaking. I was really shy. I had to overcome it. So I wouldn't call myself an extrovert, maybe somewhere in between. Ambivert, yes.
Ambivert.
I have a twin sister, an identical twin sister.
Wow.
I do literature, she does tech. My name is Evidence, her name is Confidence. I think my father was playing on rhymes.
Yes, so dance,
right? Yeah, I think that's the most interesting fact.
Okay, so if you want to take our evidence out on it, they don't buy catfish pepper soup, noted, and don't buy swallow for her. She will eat jollof rice, and then I can just be there. I'll keep quiet. I'll not say anything. So I've been meaning to ask you. Currently, how many books do you have on your shelf?
I don't know.
You don't.
It's just there.
It's just plenty, Sha. It's
not really a lot. I hope to multiply it by before the end of the year. Okay. But currently, I'm on a book buying ban because I discovered that at the beginning of the year, I had bought 25 books last year that I had not even read. You know, when there's this book frenzy, when you see this book somewhere, I want to get it, and that at the time I had money, so I was like, okay, let me be buying. But right now I'm on a book buying ban. Although I still buy books for school, but that's school purpose. So I can't, maybe I don't know how many books I have on that shelf, honestly. I don't.
Okay, our listeners and our viewers, I hope this episode has been so interesting and insightful. I hope you've learned a lot from today's episode. And don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms, Page to Shelf on TikTok, Page to Shelf Podcast on Spotify, Page to Shelf on YouTube. Just go ahead, share with your family, share with your friends, share with your yard people, tell them to listen. And please, we'll appreciate your comments. Whatever you have to say, just drop it on the comment section. Till we meet again next episode, I'm your host, Eze Goodness. Until next time, bye.